Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's had a good day today. Hopefully, the weather's been nice for you and everything's gone well. Before we get going, this is not Curse of Strahd, as you know. We're still on hiatus from that. So, if you want to know when we're going to start playing Curse of Strahd, or the next time I do another one of these solo GPT sessions, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll know when I go live. And like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good sort of stuff. Um, Today for music, we're listening to Everroon. I'll leave a link in the description. I don't own the copyright. I don't believe it's a copyrighted piece. So we will now go to the summary of episode 14 so we can start episode 15.
Episode 14 summary: What refuses to be spoken. Episode 14 opens in the aftermath of a quiet victory. The town is calm, healed on the surface, yet something deeper feels wrong. Simon senses an unease not born of violence or haunting, but of absence, a silence that has been practiced for a long time. Guided by Ash and the steady presence of Volharen, Simon discovers that the town has learned to survive by ignoring something it refuses to name. A presence sustained not by fear, but by habit. People avoid a certain place without realizing why. Questions die before they are spoken. Memory has been outsourced. Simon breaks the pattern by addressing the silence directly. When he speaks to the unseen presence and asks its name, he learns that names create responsibility. Choosing his words carefully, Simon names it remembrance, restoring proportion to something that had endured only because no one acknowledged it. With its name returned, remembrance reveals its purpose. It was never meant to linger forever. It existed to hold what the town could not face. Simon asks it to withdraw and leave the town, allowing that doing so will force the people to carry their own memories again. Remembrance agrees on one condition: that Simon tells the truth about what was there. As remembrance departs, the town does not panic, but it changes. People begin to remember. Grief, anger, and accountability surface quietly. The burden returns to where it belongs. When questioned, Simon explains plainly that a memory had been set loose. It had existed so the town could forget. With the work done, Simon turns back to the rhythm he knows. He goes to the marketplace and takes honest sword work as a caravan guard, choosing motion after stillness. Episode 14 ends not with combat, but with consequence. Not with victory, but with responsibility reclaimed.
Okay, we're ready to start episode 15, which the road does not forget. Okay, let's see what we get.
The road remembers. Dawn comes thin and grey, the kind that feels less like morning and more like a decision the world hasn't fully committed to yet. The town behind you is quieter than before, not emptied, not broken, just honest now. Doors open, voices return. No one thanks you directly. They do not need to. Memory has weight again and people walk slower under it. Your gear is packed. Your blades are clean. Valharan is present, not loud, not guiding, simply there, like a hand resting between your shoulder blades. Ash lingers at the edge of the road, watching you with the look of someone who knows that leaving is sometimes the only way to make things stick. The road east stretches out in pale mud and old stone. Wagon ruts cut deep, footprints overlap years of other footprints. This road has been walked by merchants, soldiers, pilgrims, liars, and people who swore they were done running. The road does not judge, it records. As you step onto it, something subtle shifts, not a threat, not magic, a recognition. Whatever was released back there does not follow you, but the consequences do. Truth has momentum. You take the caravan guard job easily. The merchant does not ask many questions. He looks at your stance, your hands, the way you watch the horizon instead of him, and decides that is enough. The wagons creak, the animals snort, coin changes hands, motion resumes. By mid morning, the town is out of sight. That is when you notice it. Not behind you, not ahead. To the side of the road, half buried in weeds and thyme, stands a waystone, old, weathered, its markings worn smooth, not by erosion, but by hands. People touching it as they passed, again and again, as if checking that it was still real. There is a name carved into it, not fresh, not ancient, familiar. The road does not forget. Simon, tell me what you do.
First off, are Durst and Mora with me? And am I on horseback or on foot?
Good, practical questions. This is the moment to get the pieces on the board before the universe starts sliding them around. Durst is not with you. He stayed behind in town deliberately. He wanted to see what the place would become once it had to remember itself without outside help. There was no drama in the parting, just a nod, a mutual understanding, and the quiet sense that you may cross paths again when the road decides it. Mara is traveling with the caravan, but not riding beside you. She signed on separately as a courier and scout, moving between wagons, occasionally riding ahead, occasionally falling back. You are together, but not inseparable, close enough to matter, far enough to have your own thoughts. You are on foot. The caravan has horses and draft animals, but you chose the ground. Partly habit, partly preference, partly because walking lets you feel when the road changes its mind beneath you. You can always ride later if needed, but for now your boots are in the mud, your pace measured to the wagons, your shadow long and steady. So Durst stayed behind. Mara is present, but moving independently. You are walking, not mounted. The waystone is still there. The name is still visible. Nothing is rushing you. Tell me how Simon approaches it.
Simon will carefully approach the waystone and read the name.
Simon approaches slowly, boots finding the firmer parts of the road by instinct. The caravan noise fades into a background murmur of wood, leather, and breath. Even the animals seem less interested in this stretch of ground. Up close, the waystone is older than the town you left behind, older than the habits it learned. Lichen clings to its lower half, but the upper face is bare, worn smooth by countless hands that paused here for reasons they never fully understood. The name is carved deep enough to survive forgetting. Simon, not a title, not a surname, no flourish, just the name, cut clean and deliberate, as if the stone expected it to be read again someday. There is no surge of magic, no voice. Valharan does not speak, but the road tightens around the moment like a held breath finally noticed. This stone was not placed to warn travellers, it was placed to remember one. The caravan continues to roll behind you. Mara is somewhere ahead, unaware for the moment. The world has not stopped, it has simply acknowledged you. Simon stands before his own name, carved into the path forward. The road waits.
I reach out and touch my name.
Your fingers meet cold stone, not painfully cold, not supernatural, just the honest chill of something that has stood in one place long enough to outlast weather, wars, and excuses. The grooves of the letters fit your fingertips with unsettling familiarity, like a tool made for a hand that hasn't arrived yet. The moment you touch it, the road reacts, not with sound, with memory. For a heartbeat, the world doubles. You are still standing there, boots in the mud, caravan wheels creaking behind you. But layered over it is something else. The same road years earlier. No wagons, no voices, just you walking alone, younger, tired in a way that had nothing to do with muscle, carrying a name that did not yet feel like it belonged to you. The waystone was already here then. You remember stopping. You remember pressing your hand to the blank face of the stone, feeling the urge to leave something behind, even if you did not yet know what. You remember deciding the carving was not prophecy, it was consent. The vision fades gently, like breath fogging glass and clearing again. Your hand is still on the stone, the letters are still there, but now you understand what this marker is. It does not mark where you are from, it marks where you stopped running. Valharan stirs, not with instruction, but approval, not pride, recognition. Behind you, a wagon wheel hits a rut a little too hard. A driver curses. Life resumes at full volume. The stone has done its work. Simon stands on a road that knows him, in front of a name he chose. And the road, having remembered, now asks nothing more. What does Simon do next?
Simon will catch back up with the caravan wagons and keep watch out.
Simon lets his hand fall away from the stone. There's no need for a last look. The road has already taken one for him. He turns, lengthens his stride, and falls back into rhythm with the caravan. The wagons creak, harness leather sighs. One of the drivers gives him a quick glance, the kind that says, "Good, you're back where you belong." No questions, no curiosity. The road prefers professionals. Simon takes his place on the flank, eyes moving, mind quiet. He watches the hedgerows for movement that doesn't match the wind. He listens for the wrong kind of silence, the kind that arrives too early or lingers too long. His hands rest easy, close to his blades, not eager, just ready. The waystone slips out of sight behind a bend in the road. Nothing follows. By midday, the land begins to change. Trees thin. The road hardens from mud to old stone again, older than the last stretch, fitted by hands that believed in permanence. A place where caravans slow not because they must, but because experience has taught them to. Mara drifts back alongside you without comment, matching your pace for a few steps. She doesn't ask about the delay. She just nods once, as if confirming something she already suspected. Ahead, the road dips slightly, then rises. At the crest, you spot it. A figure standing where the road narrows, half in shadow, half in light. Not blocking the way, not hiding either. Waiting in the way that suggests patience rather than ambush. No weapons drawn, no gestures made, just a person who knows the road well enough to stand in its memory and not be erased by it. The caravan slows. Simon is on watch. Tell me how you read the figure.
Simon will approach the figure, weapons stowed, showing hospitality.
Simon steps out from the caravan's flank and moves forward at an easy, unthreatening pace. His hands stay visible, his blades stay where they belong. Not hidden, not offered. Stowed. The posture of someone who understands that roads are older than grudges. The figure watches him approach and does not move. That, by itself, is information. Up close, you can see their travel worn in the honest way. Dust ground into boots, cloak faded by sun and rain, not torn by panic. No armor worth mentioning, no obvious sigils. Their stance is relaxed, but not careless. Someone who knows where to stand, so wagons slow without being told to. They incline their head first. Good road to you, they say. Not loudly, not formally. The phrase lands with weight, like it's been used correctly for a long time. You walk like someone who listens. Their eyes flick briefly to the caravan behind you, then back to you. I won't delay you long, they add. I just needed to be sure the one who carries the watch was willing to meet without steel. They glance, just for a breath, toward where the waystone would be, now hidden by the bend. You passed a marker back there, they say. Not a question. Some names don't belong to towns, they belong to roads. The caravan waits. Mar is still. Even the animals seem quieter, as if the moment has negotiated a pause. The figure gives a small, respectful nod. My name isn't important. They continue. But yours is, and hospitality goes both ways. They stop there deliberately. No demand, no warning. The road holds the silence. Simon has been met as a traveller, not a target. What does he say or do next?
Good road to you as well. And yes, I passed a marker back there. Do you know anything about it?
The figure's expression shifts at that, not surprise, relief, the kind that comes from hearing the right words spoken in the right order. Then it's still doing its job, they say quietly. They step half a pace closer to the edge of the road, careful not to block it, careful not to invite the caravan's concern. Their voice lowers, not secretive, just respectful of distance. That marker isn't a warning, it isn't a blessing either, it's a ledger entry. A faint smile touches their mouth. The old kind, the kind kept before ink, before witnesses, when the road itself was enough to remember. They glance past you briefly, as if seeing other travellers layered over the present. Ghosts, but not the scary kind, just people who kept walking. Most names carved into stone are put there by others. Graves, memorials, threats. Their eyes return to you. That one was carved by the road, after someone chose to stop being carried by it and started walking with it. They let that sit. It appears when a traveller reaches a point where running no longer makes sense, but staying still would be a lie. The road marks them so it can find them again, so it knows who kept faith. A beat. You didn't look surprised when you saw it, they add. That matters. Behind you, a wagon driver shifts his weight. Someone coughs. Time is beginning to ask politely to resume. The figure inclines their head again, deeper this time. I don't know what you'll face next, they say, but the road will recognize you now. It won't make things easier. It will make them honest. They step back, clearing the way entirely. Walk well, Simon, they say, using your name without emphasis, without drama. The road doesn't forget, but it does respect. The caravan begins to move again, as if that was always the cue. The figure does not follow. Simon is back on watch. But something has shifted. Not danger, orientation. The road ahead feels longer now and clearer.
Simon will continue along with the caravan, keeping watch.
Simon nods once, the kind of acknowledgement that doesn't invite more words, and turns back to his work. He takes his place alongside the wagons again, stride matching wheel turn and hoof beat. The caravan eases back into motion, conversation resuming in low, practical tones. Whatever pause the road demanded, it has been paid. The figure at the narrowing recedes behind you, growing smaller, then indistinct, then gone. Not vanished. simply no longer relevant to this stretch of path. Afternoon wears on, the light shifts from pale to amber. The land opens into long sightlines, fields broken by low stone walls and the occasional dead tree left standing like a forgotten decision. This is a place where ambushes are rare, not because they never happen, but because they are hard to justify. Too exposed, too honest. Mara passes you once, close enough to murmur, "You okay?" No pressure in it, just calibration. Valharan remains steady, a presence that doesn't crowd your thoughts. Less a voice, more a constant alignment. You feel placed. Then, near the end of the day, you notice something off. The road curves gently ahead, but the sounds don't match the distance. Hooves where there should be none. A rhythm just a touch too measured, not following the caravan, paralleling it, not hostile, observant. Someone else is walking the road with you, out of sight, keeping pace. The light is fading. Camp will be made soon. Simon is on watch. Tell me how he responds to the sense of being shadowed.
Simon looks for whoever is trailing the caravan going off the road if necessary.
Simon doesn't change pace right away. That would announce suspicion. Instead, he lets his awareness widen, counting steps, matching the rhythm he hears against his own. The cadence is wrong for a rider, too even, too patient. Whoever it is knows how to walk without advertising it. At a bend where the road brushes close to a low stone wall and a stand of scrub trees, Simon lets himself drift outward just far enough to look like he's checking the ground. Then, without breaking stride, he steps off the road. The noise of the caravan dulls almost immediately. Wheels and voices blur into background weather. The ground here is firmer, less churned, easier to read. He moves parallel now, eyes scanning the tree line, the shadows between rocks, the places where someone would walk if they wanted to be present without being seen. It doesn't take long. There's a figure about 30 yards out, walking openly now that the pretense is gone. No attempt to flee, no attempt to close the distance either. They stop when Simon stops, like that was always the agreement. They're alone, cloaked, hood down, travel worn in the same quiet way as the earlier figure, but younger, sharper around the edges. Their hands are empty, held loose at their sides. "You notice," they say, not accusing, almost pleased. "Good." They glance back toward the caravan, respectful of its distance. "I'm not here to interfere," they add, "and I won't follow you past tonight. I just needed to see if the road marked you by mistake." Their eyes flick briefly to Simon's boots, then to his face. It didn't. The light is almost gone now. Campfires will be lit soon. This moment has a short lifespan. The figure waits, clearly prepared to leave or explain, depending on what Simon does next. The road is quiet but attentive. What does Simon say or do?
How can you tell I've been marked by the road? What does that even mean?
The figure studies you for a moment before answering. Not your weapons, not your stance, your weight, how you stand on the ground like someone who expects the earth to answer back. That's the part most people get wrong, they say. They think being marked means being chosen, blessed, watched. A small shake of the head. It doesn't. It means the road remembers agreeing with you. They step closer, but only enough to keep their voice low. Close enough to matter, far enough to remain polite. Most travelers fight the road without knowing it. They rush when it tells them to slow. They linger when it tells them to move on. They blame fate, gods, bad luck. Their mouth quirks. The road keeps notes, quiet ones. They gesture vaguely toward your boots. You don't hesitate when the ground changes. You adjust. You don't push for speed when it would make you sloppy. You don't stop just because you're tired if stopping would be a lie. That's the first sign. Then their eyes lift to meet yours. The second is harder to fake. When the road offers you a place to stop running, you take it. Not because it's safe, because it's true. They exhale, slow. As for what it means, a shrug. It means crossroads will notice you. It means places built on habit instead of honesty won't sit right with you anymore. It means when something goes wrong on the road, you'll be close enough to be blamed or relied on. A beat. And it means you don't get lost the same way twice. The caravan's first campfire sparks to life behind you. The smell of smoke and supper drifts on the air. Time is almost up. The figure steps back. I had to know if the stone was wrong, they say. It wasn't. That's all. They turn, already angling away, giving you the choice to stop them or let the road take them. The light fades. The road waits, as it always does.
I let them go without anything to say. I start looking for Mara.
Simon doesn't stop them. He lets the silence stand as the last word, because sometimes that is the most accurate response the road will accept. The figure inclines their head once, satisfied, then turns and slips away across the scrub and stone, their steps dissolving into the evening, the way footprints always do when they've served their purpose. Simon turns back toward the caravan. Camp is coming together in practiced motions, wagons drawn into a loose ring, fires coaxed into life, animals watered and tethered, the small rituals of people who have done this often enough to survive it. Night is approaching, but not rushing. He scans for Mara. It doesn't take long. She's near the edge of the firelight, crouched by one of the wagons, pretending to check a strap while actually watching the dark beyond the camp. Her posture mirrors yours more than she probably realizes. When she spots you, she straightens and meets you halfway, keeping her voice low. You stepped off the road, she says. Not a question. Twice. Her eyes search your face, not prying, just measuring. Someone else out there? The fires crackle. Shadows stretch. Beyond the ring of light, the road disappears into night, patient as ever. Mara waits for your answer, the kind of waiting that says she already knows something happened. She just wants to know how much of it you're willing to carry alone. Episode 15 has found its rhythm. What does Simon tell her?
I tell her that there was a guide stone that had my name on it. Also, we I was being followed by someone who knows about the stone.
Mara doesn't interrupt. That alone tells you this landed heavier than small talk. She listens, really listens, eyes steady, breath slow, letting you finish before she reacts. When you mention the guide stone, her jaw tightens just a fraction. When you add that someone else knew about it, she exhales through her nose, thoughtful rather than alarmed. A stone with your name, she repeats quietly. Not disbelief, clarification. And not recent. She glances toward the edge of camp, where the firelight thins and the road dissolves into shadow. Her hand rests on her belt, not reaching for anything, just grounding herself. That explains the feelings, she says after a moment. I didn't spot them, but I felt watched, not hunted, evaluated. A small, humorless smile. I hate when I'm right about that. She looks back at you. People who know about guide stones don't usually talk about them, and they definitely don't follow caravans for fun. A beat. If they let you see them and then walked away, that wasn't a threat. That was confirmation. She studies your face again, softer now. You okay with this? She asks. Not are you safe? Not should we leave? Just that. Because roads like that don't stop paying attention once they start. Around you, the camp settles into evening sounds. Someone laughs, someone argues about rations, a pot is set to boil. Ordinary life asserting itself like it always does, even when something strange has brushed past. Mara straightens. For what it's worth, she adds, if the road bothered to carve your name, it's because you earned it. Stones don't waste effort. She nods once. Decision made. I'll take first watch with you, she says. Not because I think something's coming, because if something does, I want to see how it treats you. The fire crackles. The night deepens. Somewhere beyond the light, the road continues to remember. Episode 15 is underway.
I'll have dinner first, then start the first watch of the night.
Simon nods, easy and unceremonious, and lets the weight of the day slide off his shoulders, just enough to eat. Dinner is simple. Stew thickened with root vegetables and whatever meat the caravan picked up last stop. Bread that's more honest than tasty. It's the kind of food designed to keep you upright rather than happy. Simon eats without rush, back against a wagon wheel, eyes still roaming even while he chews. Habit, instinct. The road notices those too. Mara eats nearby, quiet, occasionally glancing out toward the dark, like she's marking landmarks that aren't strictly visible. Neither of you talk much. You don't need to. The fire does enough speaking for the moment. When the bowls are cleared and the camp settles into its lower nighttime register, Simon rises. First watch. The fires are banked but not dead. Embers glow like watchful eyes. The wagons creak softly as wood cools. Animals shift and snort, finding their own uneasy truce with sleep. The world narrows to a circle of light and a wide, listening dark. Simon takes up position where he can see the road and the surrounding ground, close enough to camp to matter, far enough to notice what doesn't belong. Mara joins him without ceremony, leaning against a post, arms loose, gaze sharp. The night is calm, not empty. Calm. No shapes move where they shouldn't. No footsteps echo back at the wrong rhythm. But there's a feeling to the dark now, subtle and persistent. Like the road isn't watching anymore. It's aware. Somewhere out there, stones remember names. Travelers measure each other without speaking. Consequences walk at a patient pace. For now, though, the camp is safe. The fire holds. The road stays quiet. Simon stands first, watch beneath a sky that does not offer answers, only distance. And the night begins to pass.
I sharpen my scimitars while I continue the watch.
Simon settles into the watch the way he always does, by doing something useful with his hands. He draws one scimitar, then the other, laying them across his knees so the firelight can catch the curve of the steel. The whetstone comes out, already smooth from years of work. This isn't preparation for a fight, it's maintenance. A conversation between blade and attention. The stone whispers along the edge, slow, even, no hurry. Each pass sharpens more than the weapon. It sharpens focus. The scrape becomes a metronome for the night, steady enough that the camp unconsciously syncs to it. Even the animals settle a little more, as if reassured by the sound of someone who knows exactly what he's doing. Mara watches for a while without speaking. Eventually, she murmurs, barely audible, "You always do that?" When it matters, she'd get if she asked. But she doesn't. She just nods and keeps scanning the dark. Out beyond the firelight, the road lies still, not asleep, just resting. No movement answers the rhythm of the stone. No presence presses close. Whatever tested you earlier has accepted the result. As the edge comes true, the blade catches the firelight cleanly. No wobble, no dull spots. Honest steel. Simon finishes one scimitar, wipes it down, and begins the other. The repetition feels right, like punctuation at the end of a long sentence. The night continues to pass. Nothing challenges the watch. Nothing demands action, and that too is information. When the time comes to change watches, the road will still be there, remembering.
I finish my watch and go to sleep for the night.
Simon finishes the last careful pass along the blade, wipes the steel clean, and slides both scimitars back into their familiar places. The edges are true. More importantly, he is. He gives Mara a quiet nod. No ceremony, just the unspoken transfer of responsibility. She acknowledges it the same way, shifting her stance, already part of the night's machinery. Simon steps out of the watch circle and into the softer dark of the camp. The fires have sunk to embers. Shapes of sleeping travellers rise and fall under blankets. The caravan breathes like a single tired animal. He settles down with his back to a wagon wheel, gear within reach, boots placed where he can find them without thinking. Habit again. The road appreciates consistency. As sleep takes him, there is no dream at first, just darkness and the slow loosening of muscles that have earned their rest. Then, faintly, a sensation, not an image, not a voice. The feeling of walking without moving, of a path unfolding without urgency, of distance measured honestly. No warning, no prophecy, just the quiet certainty that tomorrow's road will know him the moment he steps onto it. Simon sleeps. The night passes without incident, and the road, patient as ever, keeps its memory.
Simon will awaken in the morning and have some breakfast with Mara.
Morning arrives the way it usually does on the road. Not all at once. First with cold, then with sound. Simon wakes to the low murmur of the caravan shaking itself back into existence. Someone coughing, someone arguing with a stubborn kettle, animals shifting and stamping, offended that dawn keeps happening. The sky is pale and undecided, a thin wash of grey-blue that promises weather but not comfort. Nothing feels wrong. That alone is notable. He sits up, stretches the stiffness out of his shoulders and runs a quick inventory, gear where it should be, blades where they belong, no footprints where there shouldn't be any. The night did exactly what it claimed it would do. Breakfast is simple and early, porridge, thick and filling with dried fruit if you're lucky. Simon eats with Mara near one of the wagons, steam rising from their bowls into the cool air. She looks rested enough to trust the road again, which is about as much as anyone ever gets. She nudges her bowl aside after a few bites and glances at you. Quiet night, she says, not tempting fate, just stating a fact. The kind I like. She studies the road ahead while she eats, eyes tracking the way it dips and rises beyond camp like she's already walking it in her head. You sleep okay? She asks, casual but not careless. After everything yesterday, she's checking more than just your rest. Around you, the caravan is already getting ready to move, harnesses tightened, fires kicked out. Someone counting inventory like numbers might keep chaos away. The road waits just beyond camp, clean of footprints for now. Simon is awake. The day is ready to begin.
I respond to Mara. I slept fine, thanks. Everything seems the same.
Mara watches your face as you say it, not suspicious, just attentive. Then she nods once, satisfied. Good, she says. When things aren't the same, you usually feel it before you can name it. She takes another bite, then adds more lightly. And if everything seems the same after a night like that, it usually means the road decided not to meddle. That's a win. She stands, dusting her hands on her trousers, already slipping back into motion as the caravan stirs in earnest. Wagons creak into alignment. Drivers call out to one another. The small, necessary chaos of departure takes over. As Simon rises, there's a moment, brief, almost ignorable. The road ahead looks ordinary. Same stone, same ruts, same gentle curve disappearing into distance. But now you notice something you didn't yesterday. Your footprints from this morning are crisp, clear. They don't blur at the edges like everyone else's in the churned dirt near camp. The road is taking note again, not dramatically, just methodically. Mara doesn't comment, she may not even see it. The caravan begins to move, another day on the road, another stretch of memory waiting to be walked. Episode 15 continues.
Simon continues to guard the caravan and keeps walking.
Simon falls back into position as the wagons start rolling, pace settling into that familiar measured rhythm. Boots to stone, stone to memory. The caravan stretches out, each wagon finding its place like links in a chain that knows how long it needs to be. He watches, always watching. The road opens gradually, fields giving way to low hills. A line of birds lifts from a distant hedgerow, startled by something mundane, not danger. Wind moves the grass in wide, readable patterns. Nothing tries to hide badly enough to be suspicious. Hours pass the way they should. Drivers relax just a little once they realize nothing is pressing in on them. Conversations start and stop. Someone hums without noticing they're doing it. The caravan settles into a moving equilibrium, the kind that only happens when the guard is doing their job well enough that no one thinks about it. Mara ranges ahead for a while, then drops back, then moves off again. Each time she passes Simon, there's a brief exchange of glances. No words, status checks, all clear. By midday, the road forks briefly around a shallow ravine and rejoins itself on the far side. Old stonework marks the split. Not a crossroads, just an accommodation made long ago for weather and gravity, the kind of place where people slow without knowing why. Nothing happens there. And that, again, matters. The afternoon wears on. The sun climbs, then begins its patient descent. Shadows lengthen. The caravan keeps moving, steady and untroubled, carrying goods, stories, and people who believe they're just traveling from one place to another. Simon knows better. He keeps walking. He keeps watch. And the road, recognizing the agreement, carries on beside him without protest. Episode 15 moves forward, one honest step at a time.
I'm really expecting to get some combat at some point. Simon continues the path of a guardian of the caravan.
Fair. The universe has heard your complaint and is cracking its knuckles. Simon keeps his place on the caravan's flank, posture unchanged, awareness dialed in. This is the stretch of road where complacency gets people killed. Long sight lines, predictable pace. Everyone relaxed just enough to be wrong. That's when the pattern breaks. The birds go quiet first. Not a dramatic hush, just absence. Wind still moves the grass, but nothing lifts from it. No insects, no scavengers. The caravan doesn't notice yet. They won't until it's too late. Then Simon sees it. Ahead, where the road dips between two low ridges, there's movement that doesn't belong to wind. Shapes low to the ground, too coordinated, too patient. Someone picked this spot because the road funnels here. Someone who knows caravans, someone who assumes guards get lazy after quiet days. Mara has seen it too. She doesn't look at you. She subtly alters her path, widening the net. That's confirmation. This isn't monsters bursting from the woods screaming their intentions. This is an ambush, multiple figures, concealed, waiting for the lead wagon to hit the narrow. They haven't sprung it yet. Simon has a few heartbeats, enough to act, enough to choose how ugly this gets. Before anything breaks cover, make a perception check and tell me the result.
Perception. 20. Simon rolled a dirty 20 for his perception check.
A dirty 20 is more than enough. The road stops whispering and starts confiding. Simon catches the details most people miss when panic starts doing the thinking for them. There are 5 figures total. 2 ahead, crouched low behind the broken stone lining the ravine. Light armor, short spears, and hand axes. They're positioned to hit the lead wagon and the animals first. Classic stop the line move. 2 on the right ridge, slightly elevated, bows already knocked but angled down. They're waiting for screams or a halt signal, not firing yet. Discipline. 1 behind, farther back than you'd expect, moving slow and wide. That one isn't here to fight first. That one's here to cut off retreat or finish runners. These aren't desperate bandits. These are caravan hunters. Their gear is mismatched but maintained. No insignia. Faces smeared with ash and dirt to kill shine. They've done this before, and the quiet days convinced them they picked the right road. They haven't noticed that you noticed them. The caravan is seconds from the narrow. Once the lead wagon hits it, the ambush triggers, whether they're ready or not. Mara shifts again, just enough to let you know she's ready to move on your signal. Simon has initiative in everything, but the formal sense. You can warn the caravan and force a messy fight. Preempt the ambush with steal or spell. Take out a key target and let chaos do the rest. Or do something smarter and meaner than they planned for. Roll initiative and tell me the result.
I rolled an 11.
An 11 drops Simon into the middle of the moment. Not first, not late, right where choices matter. Here's how it breaks. Initiative order, relevant pieces. Ambushers on the ridges act first. They were always going to. Simon follows. Mara and the caravan guards after that. The rear flanker last. The road tightens. As the lead wagon's front wheel hits the narrow, the ambush springs. Arrows loose from the right ridge, not a volley, controlled shots. One arrow thuds into the lead wagon's wood. Another punches into a draft animal's flank. The beast screams and rears, exactly as planned. At the same moment, the two ground ambushers surge up from cover, sprinting toward the animals with spears leveled. Their goal is not you. It's to drop the wagon and panic the line. The rear flanker starts moving fast now, angling to close the trap. The caravan erupts into shouting. Drivers hauling reins, someone yelling your name. Chaos blooming exactly where the hunters wanted it. Simon, this is your moment. You have full awareness and your weapons ready. You are close enough to intercept the ground ambushers before they reach the animals, charge the ridge and threaten the archers, cut toward the rear flanker and stop the net from closing, or take a decisive action that changes the flow entirely. Tell me exactly what Simon does on his turn.
I'll cut toward the rear flanker to make sure we're not trapped.
Good call. That's the smart, ugly work. Heroes stop the spectacle. Guardians stop the problem. Simon pivots off the road and cuts hard toward the rear, boots biting into gravel and scrub as he breaks the ambush's geometry. You feel it immediately. The trap was designed to close like a fist. You're jamming a thumb straight into the hinge. The rear flanker realizes they've been made about half a second too late. They drop the pretense and move fast, low, drawing a short blade instead of running. That tells you everything. This one's job was never to fight fair. This one was supposed to finish people who thought they were escaping. Not today. You close the distance before they can fully set their feet. Dust kicks up. The caravan noise fades into background thunder. For a brief, tight moment, it's just the two of you and the road deciding which way this goes. You're in melee range. Make your attack roll with your scimitar and tell me the result.
Okie dokie. Scimitar. 12. Ooh, 12 and 8. Simon makes 2 attacks. A 12 and an 8.
Both strikes miss, but not because Simon was sloppy. The rear flanker is good, not flashy, just chi efficient. Your first scimitar arcs in, a clean-cut aim to end this fast. The flanker twists sideways at the last instant, the blade biting air where a ribcage was. Your second follows immediately, lower meant to hamstring. They hop it, barely. Steel hisses past cloth. You feel the displacement of air, close enough that it should have been blood. The flanker grins, not wide, not cocky. The grin of someone who knows they just bought themselves one more breath. Too slow, they mutter, already moving. They slash back with the short blade, aiming not to kill but to bleed and disengage, trying to slip past you and finish the job elsewhere. The flanker attacks. Make an armor class check by telling me Simon's AC so I can resolve the hit. Or if you prefer to roll and tell me whether the attack hits AC 15.
You roll for all NPCs. There is no armor class check. You just roll the bandit's attack roll and see if it hits an AC of AC of 15. Normally, it's good about not doing that, but
Correct. Thanks for the correction. We're doing it clean and by the book. The rear flanker commits. They lunge in tight, blade flashing up from low to high, aiming for the gap under your ribs where chain and flesh negotiate badly. Bandits attack roll. The flanker rolls a 13 on the die. With their attack bonus, that comes to a total of 16. That hits your AC of 15. The blade bites in, not deep enough to drop you, but deep enough to hurt and remind the body it's mortal. Damage. The flanker deals 6 slashing damage. You feel it along your side, a hot line under the armor, blood welling as they try to wrench the blade free and slip past you. This was supposed to be a hit and run. They are still in melee range, still alive, still trying to disengage and get around you. But they failed at the most important part. They didn't get past the Guardian. Simon absorbs the hit and holds the line. Your turn is coming up again fast as the fight around the caravan explodes into full chaos. Tell me what Simon does next.
6 slashing damage. Simon will attack twice again when it's his initiative.
Simon grits his teeth, lets the sting register, then locks in. The flanker expects you to flinch or overextend. Instead, you square your stance, deny them the angle, and bring both scimitars back up in a tight, efficient RO flourish. No chase. This is about ending the problem, not looking good doing it. You're still in melee. The flanker hasn't disengaged yet. They're committed. Go ahead and make both attack rolls for Simon and tell me the results.
Let's see if I can hit him this time. I rolled an 8 and a 22.
One miss, one clean, decisive hit. Your first scimitar comes in a fraction too wide. The flanker ducks inside it, trying to stay tight and slippery. That blade whistles past empty air. The second strike lands. The 22 absolutely hits. Simon adjusts mid-motion, turning the miss into leverage. The second scimitar snaps across in a short, brutal arc, catching the flanker across the torso, just under the ribs where movement can't save them. Roll damage for the hit and tell me the result. As context, here's what's happening around you while that blade bites in. The flanker's plan collapses the instant steel connects. Their breath leaves them in a sharp, wet gasp. Blood darkens their clothing fast. This was the person meant to finish things quietly. They're now fighting to stay upright. Behind you, you hear shouting and the crack of a bowstring snapping under strain. Mara has engaged one of the archers. One of the ground ambushers screams as a spear misses its mark and hits dirt instead of a draft animal. The trap is breaking, but it isn't broken yet. Roll damage.
Ah. Only did 4 damage to them.
The blade bites in, but not deep enough. 4 damage opens flesh, not fate. The flanker staggers, breath hitching, blood seeping through torn cloth, but they do not go down. They were counting on speed, not durability, and that calculation still barely holds. They snarl, more angry than afraid now. Close enough that you smell sweat and iron. Persistent, they spit, and then they do what rear flankers always do when the math turns against them. They try to disengage and slip past you anyway. Not bravado, desperation. They twist sideways, shoulder checking you as they pull back, attempting to break contact and sprint toward the caravan's exposed rear wagons. If they succeed, civilians bleed. This is the hinge moment, because if you let them go, the fight spreads. If you stop them, the ambush dies here. You can take an opportunity attack as they disengage poorly, grapple and keep them locked in place, finish this decisively and trust the rest of the caravan to hold. Tell me what Simon does right now.
I will finish it decisively and let the caravan hold.
That's the Guardian's answer. Simon doesn't chase. He doesn't hesitate. He commits. As the flanker turns to bolt, you step into the opening they create instead of away from it. No wasted motion. No mercy offered. The road does not reward half measures. You get your opportunity attack. Make one attack roll with your scimitar and tell me the result.
Come on. 16. Rolled a 16.
A 16 hits, cleanly. As the flanker twists away, Simon's blade flashes out in a tight, efficient cut, exactly where someone fleeing can't protect themselves. The road gives you the opening. You take it. Steel connects with flesh. Hard. The flanker's momentum works against them. They stumble forward, try to take another step, and fail. Knees buckle. Breath leaves them in a wet, surprised sound. They collapse into the dirt behind the caravan, blood soaking quickly into ground that has seen this kind of thing before. They are down. Now roll damage for the opportunity attack and tell me the number.
Come on. 8. 8 points of slashing damage.
That's enough. The scimitar bites deep as the flanker turns, the blade landing with finality this time. 8 points isn't just damage, it's closure. The cut drops them hard, face first into the dirt, the fight rushing out of their body in a single ragged exhale. Whatever plans they had for the caravan end right there, bleeding into the road they thought they understood. They don't get back up. Behind you, the shape of the fight changes immediately. Without the rear flanker, the ambush loses its spine. One of the ground attackers breaks when a guard's spear takes them in the thigh. The other hesitates just long enough for Mara to put an arrow into their shoulder from an angle they didn't expect. On the ridge, one archer flees outright. The other looses a wild shot and vanishes into the scrub. The caravan holds. Drivers regain control of the animals. Shouting turns into commands instead of panic. No wagon falls. No one innocent dies. That matters. When the dust settles, Simon stands alone at the rear, blade dripping, breath steadying. The road beneath your feet feels solid again, like a knot pulled tight and tied off. Mara approaches a moment later, eyes flicking to the body, then to you. Good call, she says simply. No praise, just fact. That was the hinge. The caravan is bruised, shaken, but moving. Guards drag the bodies off the road. Someone mutters a prayer they don't fully believe in. Trade resumes, because it always does. Simon wipes his blade clean and returns it to its place. The road does not forget, but today it remembers who kept it honest.
Are there any ambushers left, or are they all gone now?
Good instinct to check. Fights don't end just because the loud part does. Here's the clean read of the field. The ambush is over. Rear flanker, down and not getting back up. Ground ambushers, 2. One wounded badly and captured by caravan guards. The other fled into the ravine scrub and did not regroup. Ridge archers, 2. One disengaged and ran as soon as the trap broke. The other fired blind and vanished downslope. Neither is in position to re-engage. No one is shadowing the caravan anymore. No one is circling back. No second wave. This wasn't a warband. It was a precision hit that depended on timing, surprise, and containment. You broke the containment. Once that happened, their risk calculus flipped hard. Mara confirms it a moment later after ranging out and back. They're gone, she says. Smart enough to stay gone. The caravan takes a short halt to tend wounds, check tack, and drag the bodies well off the road. No pursuit, no revenge charge, just clean up. The road is quiet again, not peaceful. Resolved. Simon did exactly what a guardian is supposed to do, stop the spread. Episode 15 continues with blood on the stones and the caravan still moving forward.
I continue my guard duties from the caravan.
Simon settles back into his place without ceremony. No victory lap, no scanning for applause. Just the quiet reset that comes after a fight that mattered. He adjusts his pace to the wagons again, eyes up, posture loose but ready. The road rolls on beneath his boots like nothing remarkable happened, which is exactly how roads tend to behave after they've taken their due. The caravan moves slower for a while. That's normal. People need a few miles to convince themselves they're still alive. Voices stay low. Laughter comes back in pieces. Someone cracks a joke that isn't very good, and everyone pretends it is, because that's how fear finishes leaving the body. Mara ranges ahead and back again. Wider arcs this time. Each pass earns a brief look between you. No words needed. The perimeter holds. The place of the ambush slips behind you. Stones. Blood already darkening. Tracks already breaking apart under hooves and wheels. In a day or two, it will just be another stretch of road where travelers feel uneasy without knowing why. By late afternoon, the caravan finds its rhythm again. Animals steady, drivers confident, guards alert instead of tense. Trade resumes because trade always resumes. Nothing stalks the edges now, nothing presses close. The road has accepted the correction. Simon keeps walking. He is no longer just guarding cargo. He is guarding continuity, making sure the road remains a road and not a story people warn each other about in taverns. The sun slides lower, shadows stretch long, evening will come soon enough. Episode 15 continues, not with another ambush, but with earned forward motion.
Let's get the caravan to its stopping point for the night and call it the end of episode 15.
The caravan reaches its stopping point just as the light begins to thin into evening. It's a shallow rise off the road, chosen generations ago for exactly this purpose. Good sight lines, hard ground, a line of old stones marking where wagons naturally circle without being told. Someone long dead made a smart choice here, and everyone since has benefited from it without knowing their name. The wagons pull in, Fires are lit, animals are tended, wounds are cleaned and wrapped. The day's fear is talked down into something manageable, then folded away for sleep. No one celebrates, no one mourns loudly. Survival settles in like a familiar coat. The merchant finds Simon eventually. No speeches, just a firm nod and a heavier purse than agreed. Hazard pay without needing to call it that. Mara joins you near the edge of camp as the stars come out one by one. You kept them moving, she says. That's what mattered. The road lies quiet beyond the firelight. Not watching now, not testing, just existing, satisfied with the accounting. Simon takes his place in the circle of wagons, guardian again, blades clean, posture easy. The caravan sleeps, someone stood where it counted. Episode 15, The Road Does Not Forget, ends not with mystery, but with proof. The road remembers. And tonight it approves.
Well, alrighty then. We'll call that the evening. And if you made it this far, thank you very much. Again, subscribe and leave a comment, leave a like. It'd be greatly helpful. I'm not sure when I'll get a chance to play this again. It may be tomorrow, it may be the next day, who knows. But we'll see what happens. I didn't want to make it too long, but longer than the last episode. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. See you later. Bye.